if you're a jiu-jitsu guy over 40, come here, I want to tell you something. Getting weaker and getting deconditioned doesn't solve anything. And I get it. Maybe you're really beat up. Maybe you have injuries and you just think, hey, I'm just going to take a couple weeks off, a month off, the rest of the year off. And you think that's going to solve the problem. So you just cross your fingers and hoping that, magically in a few months you can feel better. But here's why it doesn't usually work is say you actually do have a serious injury or a structural injury. So say you have like a rotator tear, or you have and so you stop strength training. So now the muscles around that compromised area that kind of help support it and not make it so bad. Now those muscles are going to shrink, get smaller, and those muscles are going to get weaker. So the compromised area that you already have, you're simply going to make it worse. And then if you completely shut down, you're not doing jiu-jitsu, you're not lifting weights, so you're not getting any physical activity. So now you really are out of shape. So then when you go back, you're much more vulnerable to your actual injury. Plus you're out of shape, which kind of sucks just to go back to anything and you're trying to get into shape. Now here is what I would do, and this is what I've done. I've popped my knees so bad that the day after I'm limping, I can't walk. So I've had some, I won't say I've had a lot of injuries because overall I feel like I've been pretty healthy, but a couple times I've had injuries where shit, this is going to be serious and this is going to take a long time to recover from. And to be honest with you, it didn't really take that long to recover from because I follow this protocol. And this protocol tends to have some scientific basis of that it helps drive up the recovery process. An interesting fact is sometimes when they've done studies where they did MRIs and people have rotator cuff tears or they have a herniated disc, not everyone who has those issues actually are in pain. Only certain people are in pain. So what they actually tells us is that you can have those injuries and it doesn't necessarily have to affect you or completely ruin your activities. So, but here's what I do is I'm always going to strength train. I think it's an excuse not to strength train when you're injured because you can always work around it. I think people just get in their head, or maybe it's either they get in their head and they're kind of depressed, or they're just looking for a reason because you can always train around it. If you have an upper body injury, you can do lower body, vice versa. From that specific area, you don't have to completely shut it down. So say your shoulder has been killing you, go to the gym and just start and see what hurts and what doesn't hurt. So say you have a shoulder problem, you go to the gym, you try bench press, it kills. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a dumbbell press, it kills. I'm going to do pec flies, it feels okay. So now you can do pec flies. Now you have an exercise that you can at least maintain some strength and some muscle. And again, maybe you can do some rows. And usually if you ever dealt with a shoulder injury, oftentimes it's the push up that really irritates the shoulder, but the back stuff usually feels pretty good. Same thing with your knee. If your knee's bumped, yeah, you can definitely do upper body, but you can be if your knee's bumped, you can do more exercises that target the hips and the hamstrings. So maybe you can't squat for a little bit, but you can do RDLs, you can probably do leg curls, you can probably do hip thrusters, probably do a bunch of deadlift variations, you can do back extensions. So there's things that you can do, and what makes this really great is that what ends up happening is that although you're not really working that specific area, you're going to drive blood flow into that area. And sometimes that can really help the recovery process, and it makes the joints feel better versus if you just don't do anything. Again, the muscles get tighter, they get weaker, and you're probably going to be in more pain. So just from a pain management, this is a very smart thing to do. I wanted to make this video because I think it's really important. And I think a lot of times people complain of things like, hey, it sucks getting old. It sucks getting old, blah, blah, blah. And the real reason why people really succumb to age is because when they hit these kind of hiccups in the road, they basically throw in the towel. And they don't try to train around it. And they too quickly, I feel opt for things like pain management, maybe medication, maybe different shots, maybe surgery. When it comes to your body, even if you do get the surgery, for whatever reason, when you come back, you still have to maintain it. And I think that's why sometimes surgeries don't work for people, is because their back's fucked up or their shoulder's messed up, so they get the surgery, and then afterwards they feel like it's fixed. You're not a car. It's not like you fix your tire and you're good to go. You still have to maintain that. So if you get surgery to fix your knee, but then you don't take care of yourself, you're probably going to get another knee injury. And this is what happens with a lot of people because they don't take ownership of their body.